YouTube, it's your boy FPL Kayman, and I'm back with a brand new video. In today's video, I'll be covering my Game Week 8 team review as well as my Game Week 9 team selection. As you guys know, I am on wildcard this week. I finally activated it. I had enough of Mo Salah, so I finally decided to activate the wildcard. So without further ado, let's look at my final team selection for Game Week 9. So at first, we'll be covering my Game Week 8 team review. As you guys can see, I did have another red arrow, unfortunately. Now that's back-to-back red arrows. I had total 62 points. My safety is around 67, so I just missed that slightly. And I'm ranked at 1.2 million. It could have been worse, to be honest, but it is what it is. Double Arsenal D paid off. Raya as well as Timber, they both got a clean sheet. And my transfer essentially paid off. I did sell Virgil van Dijk. I think we ended up conceding 2 goals, of course. So he's got 3 points and Timber got 6, which is perfect. Senesi did concede, I think, 3 goals and he still got 2 points. Rich has got DEFCON, same as Senesi. Estef is the star that actually done me a solid by getting 8 total points. He also hit DEFCON as well. So big shout out to Steve. And then in midfield, it's been an absolute shocker, I'll be honest. Mohamed Salah has been stinking up the gaff. Another blank. Now that's back-to-back games weeks that he's blanked. He might actually be washed, guys, at this point. Like, I've kept the faith long enough, but this man has continued to disappoint me. And to be honest, enough is enough, as I said. And I've activated the wildcard, as I said, and he'll be out of my team soon, so I don't have to worry about this 6-2 point merchant. And then Kudus, he looked good on the eye test, but Spurs were horrendous. They would keep going on the left wing instead of going towards his direction and not feeding him. He did score 1 goal that was offside, but ultimately he didn't get any FPL points because it didn't count. But otherwise, on the eye test, he did look good. He did take a lot of set pieces, and he does look to be the best player for that team. However, I think on wildcard, I probably wouldn't have him. And then you got Semenyo, who did get 1 assist. He could have a double assist as well, but one of them got ruled out, which seems to be fair now. But again, this guy's just consistently ticking along, even in the tougher fixtures. So he's a definitely buy/hold. And then you got Reinders, who got hooked around the 59 minutes. This guy only gave me 1 return in 8 weeks. And that was the first game week. And since then, he's been horrendous. And now his minutes doesn't look good either by him getting subbed around 50 or 58 minutes. So his time is up. He's got to go. And then in the fourth position, you got Haaland, of course. He's on an absolute terror right now. He should have scored at least 4 goals versus Everton. Unbelievable what this guy's doing. He's been putting City on his back. And he's got another brace. 26 points or 2 goals. He could have probably easily had a hat-trick. But what more can you say about him? He's a perma cap at this point. I'm not even going to entertaining other options anymore. And then you got João Pedro with another blank. I had suspect about him last week. I did say I was worried about him. And my fear seems to be coming true now. He did turn into a model again, it seems like. And the guy had not had a single shot in the last 5 games. It's unbelievable. He's not taking any shots. And the truth of the matter is, guys, if you're not shooting, you're not going to score points. It is what it is. He's not even attempting shots. So he's someone also probably on the chopping block on a wild card. My bench, believe it or not, like, was on fire. Like, all of a sudden, randomly, Dubravka with a 9-pointer. Anderson hits a DEFCON now that I bench him. Unbelievable, this fraud. And then Anderson for Fulham, he got obviously hooked because he picked up a hamstring injury. And then Krupi Jr., who I didn't know was started versus Palace and got 2 goals. If I would have known that he was starting, I would have probably activated the bench boost. I got, I think, around 26 points on the bench. Like, oh, what an opportunity missed. I could have easily activated it if I would have known he's starting, and I could have been on a massive green arrow. But that's hindsight. I didn't know that he was available. I believe Evan Nilsson did pick up an injury. But yeah, overall, I can't complain too much. The fact it's a still red arrow, but listen, I got to think of something because I'm bleeding out right now. Gabriel dunking on me week to week. Bruno's getting something every other week. Saka's looking good now. So yeah, I got to restructure. So now let's move on to my Game Week 9 wildcard draft. So for Game Week 9, this is the draft I got currently, boys. I think I'm 98% sure. Almost, I'll say 2%, just in case maybe we get some bit more information. I'm recording this video on a Thursday morning, so potentially we may get some press conference news on Friday and I may make some changes. But ultimately, I'm kind of locked on this team at the moment. I'm starting with Petrovic at the back, combined with Dubravka. Of course, Petrovic is a good fixture, knowing on Forest. So does Dubravka as well. I could start either one of them. I'm going with a bit more of a cheaper keeper rotation. But there is obviously good options like Sanchez and even Pope, I think, which is the best option in terms of both price-wise as well as fixture-wise. I was looking at Pope originally, but then I had to sacrifice Gakpo in this team. So I just say, you know what, let me just go with Petrovic and Dubravka combination. And a lot of people have Senesi, so he's quite template. So I'm not really going to gain much from there. And Bournemouth's defensive data has been quite good before they play Palace. So I'm quite happy to go with the double Bournemouth D for the time being. One thing I'm considering, though, is maybe instead of double Bournemouth D, which is a bit dangerous because you don't want to double up too much, I'm considering maybe going Sanchez instead of Petrovic by downgrading Senesi to Trafford, or even maybe go for Diakite, he's also good for Defcon as well. But I think Senesi is quite a team player, and I do want to play the safety game slightly there and try to hedge my bets with the keeper because a lot of people have Senesi anyway. So I do gain with Petrovic if they do keep a clean sheet. And he's also really good for save points. Moving to the back line, as I said, Senesi is the first guy in my team. He does have a Forest at home, of course, combined with double Arsenal D, which I do think is the best way to go compared to the double attack. I do think their open play threat is not as great from compared to set piece as well as clean sheet. I believe they're the best defense in the league. And the only way to gain from them is probably by doubling up on them. By having one defender, you don't really gain much because everyone has one anyways. So I think I'm going with the best two defenders in Gabriel as well as Timber. Just a key thing to note, they're, I think, number one in terms of XGC considered. So their defense by far, anyone else is the best. I think second best is probably Newcastle. And then it's probably, I think, City. But ultimately, I do like this both Timber and Gabriel combination. They're both good at set pieces, like especially if they're taking corners. They score a lot of goals from corners. Like I do have my chances of getting an attack and return from one or the other is quite significant, especially because I got the corner taker in Saka, and I do have the guys that can potentially score a bullet header, both Timber and Gabriel. I love the combination. I also have Munoz, who is currently, of course, on my bench at the moment, and I have Mukiele as well as King on the bench. Mukiele is really good for Defcon. I think he's second for Defcon in the league, and Senesi is number one. So I have the two best Defcon guys in my team. Although Mukiele was playing centre-back before, and now that Ballard is back, he may play as a right-back. But even then, he still gets Defcon as well. He's really good as an asset. He's really good from set pieces as well, and he takes long throws. And Munoz is ultimately not even a defender. He's basically a wing-back. I think he's one of the best. He's not a wing back, he's actually a winger, to be honest with you. Like Timber and Munoz, the way they attack is ridiculous. I know a lot of people are going with Richard and sacrificing Munoz. I just don't think it's worth it. I consider him as an attacker, not just a defender. He's got so many risky points, Defcon, attacking threat, assists, goals. I mean, my goodness, clean sheets. He's got everything. Like, he's what I call a triple threat. So I can't go without Munoz on my wild card. I'm not willing to sacrifice him. Although he's playing Arsenal away, it's not the greatest entry point, but I'll be benching him this week, so it's fine. My backline does look really strong with Senesi, Timber, Gabriel, as well as Mukiele and Munoz. I feel like I've got the best of the both worlds with Senesi and Mukiele with the Defcon guys, and with Timber and Gabriel and Munoz more attacking threat / clean sheet odds there. And moving into my midfield, I do have Saka as well as Semenyo, which is a template pick. And then you got Enzo Fernandez, my boy. Listen, this wildcard is worth it because of Enzo Fernandez, honestly, because I'm so glad he's fit and healthy. He did play in the Champions League versus Ajax, and he scored a penalty as well. I believe they won 2 penalties, and I think he gave one of them to Esteval because obviously he's a kid and he wants to build himself confidence as well. So, great guy. He's the captain of Chelsea. He's going to start almost every game in the league. He's got great fixtures coming up. My only regret probably is not having more Chelsea because they got a phenomenal fixture run. And I think Enzo is probably the best asset. I know a lot of people are looking at JP, but he's not been the greatest form of himself recently because he's not had a single shot on target for the last 5 games. So it is looking tough for him. And then I am going with Gakpo, who is my differential. I think is around 10 or 12% ownership. A lot of people did sell him on their wildcard game week 6 or 7 because they did think he's going to be a rotation risk. But now that Isak apparently has picked up a groin injury in the Champions League and Gakpo did score again, he also been scoring the last 3 games in a row. So Gakpo is in really good form right now, and he seems like the best attacker from Liverpool at only 7.5 million, which looks like a cheat code. Like if you want to go for Isak, it's like 10.4 million or 5 million. If you want to go for Ekitike, it's like 8.7 million. Salah, of course, 14.5 million. Bum was giving you 5, 4, and 2, like ridiculous. So Salah got benched again in the Champions League as well, and Gakpo started that as well. And I feel like Gakpo is a bit of a slots boy as well, like that Dutch connection. So ultimately, I do think he's going to get the minutes. And with Isak injury, I think he even boosted it even more so. So I do like that as a differential, and that is why I did sacrifice my goalkeeper. I was going to go for Pope and Sarr. Instead, now I'm going with Petrovic and a Gakpo combination because I feel like I want to spice things up on my wildcard as well and have a bit of a differential and gain some advantage over the field. I know a lot of people are looking at Gakpo from game week 12, but I'm going on him a bit, I'll say a couple of weeks early because, again, as a differential factor, and I also think the fixtures are not that bad, and I do want to cover Liverpool attack. And Brentford is a good entry point as well. And then last but not least, you got King, who is actually a cheap enabler, to be honest. He does start for Fulham, and he has some really good fixtures coming up, especially in, I think, game week 10 when he plays Wolves, as well as in 12 when he plays Sunderland. So those are the 2 weeks I'm looking at as a bench boost, and he offers a very good fixtures for me, and I think he will start those games. And he's just an enabler, to be honest. He enables me to be able to own the likes of Saka, Haaland, Gakpo, Otomad, Mateta, etc. Moving on to the forward position, of course, you got the big man, the Earl of Norway. Of course, you got Mateta as well as Otomad. I mean, look, Watermat is not a differential exactly, but I think he is someone that a lot of people kind of ignored because he was a shiny new toy and not many people were sure how good he was going to do, how he's going to adapt to the Premier League. But he's done really well. He's came into the league. He scored almost every single league game that he started except for one. And Mateta, I mean, Mateta has been like, extremely underperforming his expected data. Like, he's been getting so many big chances. I think he's second for big chances in the league, just behind Haaland. He's had just the same amount of chances as Haaland, but he's not converting those chances. But finally, versus Bournemouth, he did score a hat-trick. And not only that, he could have scored another goal and scored 4 goals there. And I think Palace are just looking insane attacking-wise. That's why I wasn't even considering triple Palace on my wildcard. But I thought I'm maybe putting all my eggs in one basket. So I went with Mateta and Munoz. Well, I consider both of them to be attackers anyways. And to be honest, Mateta, like, he's one of those strikers that needs to be on form. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you only picked him because he scored a hat-trick last week. But really and truly, his data has always been good. And he's one of those strikers that you have to go on him when they're hot. And right now, I think he's hot. And this is the time you jump on him. Although the Arsenal entry point is not good. But again, from game week 10 onwards, his fixtures are phenomenal. And then Haaland, I mean, what more can I say about him? The Earl of Norway. He's an absolute machine. He scored in 12 games in all competition, 12 game weeks in a row, in all competition. So the guy's just ridiculous. He's going to be perma-cap until he starts to blank, because how can you back against him? Like, maybe there's some alternative captain you can consider this week, maybe Enzo or maybe Semenyo, but with Daesh being a manager right now for Forest, I'm not sure if I want to back Semenyo as a cap. And Saka, yes, he's good, but at the end of the day, he's playing Palace, which is a tough fixture for him. I just think Haaland, I know Villa away, his record is not great, but ultimately, he's just in ridiculous form. It doesn't matter who's playing, he's scoring versus anyone. So I'll most likely go to captain Haaland just because of the EO as well as form. Like, you can't back against him at this moment in time. So yeah, that's how I'm lining up. The team does look really good. Ultimately, it's not ideal to play Mateta versus Arsenal, but I think my bench, potentially I could start Munoz ahead of Mateta because he may get DEFCON, but I'll probably back the striker, because even if I don't get the clean sheet from Arsenal, maybe Mateta will get the goal and I'll get points from there. So yeah, overall, I do like this team. I just want to let you guys know, like, there is one decision that I'm still not 100% sure on, is that Senesi versus Petrovic combination, which I'm not extremely keen on, because that is hedging my bets there too much, because once they concede, you're kind of muddled. I'm looking at Sanchez as well as maybe Trafford or Diakite as a combination, but we'll see come the deadline. Make sure to tune in to the deadline stream on Friday, where I'll potentially be making some last minute changes. But if not, this will be my team. I'm somewhat 98% sure. Just at 2% that I might not be sure about. So yeah, with this team, I'm looking at game week, I think game week 10 as well as game week 12 bench boost, which I think all my bench players does have good fixtures. I was entertaining a Chimpong for a slight moment instead of Mukiele, but I just think in the long run, he's just going to become a dead spot, and I don't want to, especially when I have bench boost left, I don't want to carry a dead spot in my team. Some of you guys may be wondering, if you're on wildcard, how do you afford this team? I think the sacrifices you make is basically in Senesi. You go, instead of Senesi, you go Diakite or Trafford, and then potentially you sacrifice Munoz to, for example, Richard. That's how you release more funds if you're, say, for example, 1 million short or 0.5 million short. I do have a really good, strong team value. That's why I'm able to afford this team. But there are areas you can sacrifice, as I said, with Munoz as well as Senesi. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Make sure to smash the like button. Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.